Ink in Springfield, the only place to get a tattoo. Unless you're at Anchored Ink in Eugene,
Right.
because they're brothers. You want to keep that all in. This is Jake Williams, and we are adding to the sleeve today. And so this is the town of Livingston, Montana, and this is Livingston Peak. So we're putting in the bottom part to get us down so that we have a full sleeve. And I was telling Jake, man, I get so many comments about this artwork. And the main comment I get, which is going to lead us to what we're talking about today a little bit, is people say, I wish I would have planned better. I just went in and started getting things helter-skelter, and I wish I would have planned better. Do you find that people do that often?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the problem is once you do it, it's kind of like, it's pretty permanent unless you're going to cover it up. And we have a friend named Ron Sturry who's doing that, and it's not recommended.
I'm actually working on him today too.
Are you seriously?
Yeah. Yep.
What time's he coming in?
I think 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that.
Well, that's awesome. I'll get to see Ronnie.
Yeah.
So, Jake, misconceptions about tattooing, things people don't understand.
It takes longer than 15 minutes.
You're laying here I'll be here for 4 hours today.
I've actually talked with people, and you know, they come in trying to get an idea as to like how much their tattoo is going to cost and how long it's going to take and everything. And I tell them it's going to be like 6 hours, and they're like, "But I watched Ink Master, and it only took like 15 minutes for them to do their whole arm." And I'm like, "It's made for TV. Come on now." So yeah, it takes longer than 15 minutes to do a tattoo.
Leota wants to know if you're doing the other arm.
Yet to be determined. Jake and Rick want to do
this
it.
rate.
We want to do it, but my wife is not too sure yet. So we're just don't say anything, Leota. We're working on it. But yeah, I'd like to. I mean, there's a lot more landmarks that I've been to and gone to, and it is kind of addicting. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So what's another misconception about stuff? I think
That's actually a pretty good one too. Is whether or not it's addicting or not. Like, is it addicting to get tattooed, or is it just you get over that initial fear of actually having it done, and then you're comfortable with it? So
Right.
It just opens up the floodgates.
because most people think it really hurts bad.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
it's like
People
then
come
here
in
when you were doing that, there are some points when you'll kind of bite your tongue and you go, okay, that's a little sensitive. But
Right.
I have had nothing except when you do the white, which we are doing some white today. But when you do white, it really hurts. And tell people why that is.
So with white, it's just such a light tone that you have to make sure that you really saturate the skin. And usually when you're doing white after everything else in the tattoo has already been done. So it's just going to be a lot more sensitive because, you know, maybe you've been sitting there for 4 or 5, 6 hours or whatever, and you know, the bottom of the tattoo hasn't been touched in 3 or 4 hours, but then, you know, you got to throw some white into it at the end. So
So it's
just makes
already
it a little
sore.
yeah, it's already sore. The skin's already been worked over, and then it's kind of had a minute to like break or kind of calm down, you know, and then you go back into it and hit it with some white that you have to put in a little bit deeper and a little bit harder. And yeah, it'll definitely wake you up a little bit.
It does really hurt. I'm telling you, white. Tim was here shooting it last time when he's doing some white, and I'm like going, I mean, it really. But it looks so cool when you get that on there.
Yeah, the white definitely will set off the tattoo.
And it has to go deeper too, right? You said that.
Yeah, you just have to saturate better. Basically, it's not necessarily deeper. You just have to
You're poking.
make sure you're really saturating it. A lot of the times, like when people come in and ask for an all white tattoo, I'm never gonna do an all white tattoo on somebody because most of the time when it heals up after a while, it'll just get like this milky kind of tone, and so then to me it almost looks more like a scar than it does like a tattoo.
Right.
And it's just, you know, it looks better when it's next to some black or something like that, because then you have that contrast next to it.
Right.
And so, you know, your darker values are going to look darker, and your lighter values are going to look lighter. So, you know, when it's thrown into a tattoo as a highlight, it just sets off a little bit better.
The other thing Jake and I were talking about that was kind of funny when he puts the stencil. So some people think, okay, so well, you're just doing a stencil, you know. Well, he puts a stencil on there as an outline, but then all the shading goes in. Because when you first put it on, I'm going. Most people say what?
Yeah, most people are like, is that what my tattoo is going to look like?
Like,
And yeah, a stencil for us is more or less just like a map, you know, like we're mapping out what we're doing in our head and putting it on paper so that we have something to kind of use as like a guideline or a reference while we're working on it.
So the artwork comes in all the shading and the things you don't see on this outline.
Right.
Because you're looking at this and you're putting that in there.
Right.
That is so cool. That's pretty intricate. That way it tingles a little more.
Yep. A lot of little things going on today.
Man.
Leo says it's like childbirth. You forget the pain and look at it with love.
Right.
I'm sure this is not like childbirth. I hear a lot more screaming in childbirth.
Yeah.
See, now right there, that is sensitive. You can feel that, but it's not. I mean, it's not like over the top. I think you're right. Once you get over the fear and you see how fun it looks, and tattoos are pretty popular right now, aren't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing how many artists are in this town. How many shops are in this town, and then the artists that are in them alone, and everybody that's good stays busy.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Why do you think it's such a thing right now?
Trend. I don't know. I think that it's becoming more and more accepted. So more and more people are looking into getting tattooed, and then it's been commercialized by the TV shows and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's more of a mainstream thing now. There's TV shows and everybody that's performing on TV or acting on TV or anything like that. Everybody's got tattoos, or they're portraying people that have tattoos, or it's just the floodgates have been opened up because of the TV shows and stuff like that.
So is it still more popular with men or women?
Man, I wouldn't really.
You think it's pretty equal?
I think it's pretty equal, yeah.
So how much does something like that cost usually? Like a
tattoo?
Yeah.
It really is going to kind of depend on the design, and every artist kind of charges a little bit different. So, when people come in or contact us and they want to know how much it costs for a tattoo, it's always easier if you come down into the shop and talk with me in person, because then I can get an idea as to how big your arm is and how much tattooing it's going to take to actually do the tattoo that you're asking to do, So there's a lot of different things that go into it.
So see, if I was like really big and buff, it'd be way more expensive, huh?
Right.
A lot more canvas.
Yep.
But skinny guys, we get a deal.
Right.
We got little arms. So take that, all you buff dudes. Anybody have any questions out there?
No, right now.
So Jake and I were talking about another topic earlier too. Social media.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. It's getting real weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And people like us and most businesses, you depend on it. I mean, my business is on it. So but there's more and more people wanting to get away from it because of all the animosity and anger and bitterness and stuff.
Yeah. I think, and there's a lot of fake news that goes on there, and then
I don't
there's
believe
a lot of drama that ensues from that fake news, and everybody, I don't know, people are just everybody's too one-sided about things anymore, and I feel like social media has kind of really played a huge role in that. I mean, if you look at the presidential election, I mean, they targeted people, that would go out and vote specifically for the president. I don't know. I think there's a lot of bad that goes into it, and there's a lot of good that comes with it as well.
Right.
It's a shame that it's become such a good marketing tool that, I mean, it is hard to get away from as a business owner.
Jeff wants to know if it hurts or stings.
If what?
If it hurts or stings.
Okay, Jeff. Right now, no. It doesn't. It feels like a scratch. But when he gets in here, when he's over here, like in this section on this tender part of there, that stings a little bit. But it's not like a bee sting. It's just, I mean, I'll admit, there's points sometimes when I'm going, just pulling in, like, making a face like that. But it's not, I mean, the outcome for me is worth the pain. And so I was telling somebody who was asking me the other day, what do you love about it? And honestly, I mean, you can take this as you want. I don't really care. it just makes you feel badass. I mean, it really does. It's like I was telling Jake earlier. I had a picture. You know how Facebook can then pop up a picture of you 5 years ago or a year ago or something, and I had a year ago picture in a tank top, and when I pre-tattoo, and I looked at it, I think, God, that looks weird not to have a tattoo. It looks like you're kind of a little puss. And now it's like I feel like it's a little more badass. And I'm just being honest. It really does. It's like you walk around, and it's a great conversation starter. Other people with tattoos always will come up, kind of like a puppy. They'll come up and start. Do you find that?
Yeah.
They'll come up and start talking to you. Going, hey, what's your tattoo about? And they want to know your story. So I love that kind of stuff.
When I started my apprenticeship, the guy that I apprenticed under, I'm pretty sure it was day one. One of the first things that he asked me when I was even trying to do my apprenticeship was, "Why do you want to be a tattoo artist?" And I looked at him and kind of thought about it for a second, and I was like, "Because tattoos are badass. I mean, who wouldn't want to be a tattoo artist?" And he was like, "When do you want to start?"
Yeah, and I think I wonder what it is for women. I don't think women are looking to be badass.
No, I think women really try to accentuate their features. I mean, most of the time, the women are getting the really difficult and painful areas tattooed because it is those areas that are going to kind of accentuate their features and stuff.
What do most women have done? Arms?
I would say probably you get a lot of hip pieces and rib pieces, side pieces in general. I feel like the whole outer hip is really popular
For
right
women?
now. Yeah.
And
just like the lower back used to be really popular back in the day, and women kind of swayed away from that.
It kind of got
the name that comes along with
tramp
it
stamp
now,
kind of ruined that one, didn't it? Yeah. It used to be cute, and now it's not.
Yep.
So you got to think about that when you're getting a tattoo, because you're going to see this for the rest of your life, right?
Yeah. Well, and that's like tribal pieces. I mean, nothing against tribal at all, but it used to be. I remember when I was younger, and I was like, "Oh man, when I get older, I want to get a tribal tattoo," And now everybody, well, not everybody, it's definitely a style that people still get, but you get a lot more people that are like, "Oh, why would you get a tribal piece? What tribe are you from, bro?" And stuff like that.
Well, that's why I did this, because then I had Jake and I were talking about. I said, well, maybe I could fill in with some trees, and then I read an article online where it said, you're a white male if you're getting forests and trees put on your body. And I went, uh-oh, I'm going to be typical. So I didn't do the trees. So, and there's nothing wrong with trees if people want to do it. It was just kind of a funny thing where,
Right.
So for me, it was just really wanting to put things that meant something to me, because it's part of my storytelling on my arm. And I think to each his own, and everybody has a different story, so it's really your own personal thing. And who really gives a damn what anybody thinks? If you want to put trees on your arm, tell them to shove it.
Yep.
It's your tattoo. Go to hell.
If I could go back and hit the reset button, I would have trees all over me.
Really? You'd be a forest?
Yeah.
Well, you're kind of a
different kind of stuff. I mean, there'd be outdoor things kind of tied into it, but yeah, it'd all be tied together with trees.
You should see this guy's bear. When you do bear, you like bears though, don't you?
Yeah.
He does bears, and it's like, you could scare the shit out of somebody with your bear. You know what I mean? He did one the other day. I saw it on a leg, a calf, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was like this beautiful, and it's growling, and it was really, you could tell you put your heart and soul into that thing.
Yeah. It's funny. So that guy that has that tattoo is one of my buddies. I'm gonna pick on him a little bit right now. He's the one that I hunted with this year and everything. So how we were talking about, being prepared for your tattoo and making sure you know what you want and all that kind of stuff. Because you can tell me what you want, and I'm gonna give you the best rendition that I can come up with for your ideas that you're giving me.
Right.
However, it's up to you to make sure that it's something that you really, really want to do. So, my buddy, I'm going to pick on for a second.
Does he have a name?
Yeah, his name's Josh.
Hey, Josh, we're outing you. Sorry.
So, he got some tattoos done a while back, and I wouldn't say they're, I'm not going to say they're bad or anything, but they weren't what he wanted. And
Who did them? You didn't do them.
No.
Well, that was your first mistake, Josh.
Right.
Josh,
that's
Jake,
why it's coming to me now.
Jake would never let you do something as stupid as that you did, and I have no idea what you did.
That's really funny that you even said that comment, because it really ties into the whole story.
Josh hates both of us now.
So we started doing this really big cover up on him, and some of it was going how he wanted, or kind of what he was thinking, you know. And then last time I tattooed him, we threw some different ideas out there and kind of changed up the design a little bit, and tattooed some stuff on him. So then he came in last night for me to tattoo him again, and he's like, so he's like, I kind of got some new ideas, and I just knew right away. I was like, uh-oh, you know, what does that mean? He started laughing right away, and he's like, so, he's like, how hard would it be to cover up what we did in our last session?
What? No, Josh, what are you doing?
So, yeah, we're in the process of redesigning what we're doing on him, you know, and it wasn't like he didn't like what we did. It was just, you know, after looking at it for a little bit, he kind of decided he wanted it to be something a little bit different than what we had.
Well, we have a mutual friend who, now that I'm a client here, now Ron Story from Keeper Kia is also one of his clients, and he's coming in a little bit tonight. So we'll do another little quick live with Ron here and show you, because Ron's covering up ex-wives and other names that he put on. Never put a name on your body, and it's massive. I mean, what he's having done to cover that up is painful and massive, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'll see, it's like literally all black that he's covering up. But you're doing a great job. I saw it.
Thank you.
Looks really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, I'm really excited about it.
so, but how many? Ron's been in there how many times?
Oh,
Hours, like, would you think?
total hours, probably somewhere around 15 hours already, I would guess.
So 15 hours and he's not done. So think about what you're doing.
We're probably not even halfway.
Halfway.
I hate to say that to Ron, but
Yeah. Don't tell Ron if he's watching. Ron, we're just picking on you a little bit. So, good tip. Don't use names.
Dale said he'll get one of you if you get one of him.
Dale, I don't know how I'm going to explain having you on my butt cheek. Are butt cheeks popular to tattoo?
I've only ever done 2, actually.
I don't think I'd want my butt tattooed. That would be an awkward thing.
Yeah, that would be.
You know?
They actually, most people that get it tattooed actually say that it's pretty tender spot, pretty painful area.
Well, I would think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I can be a hard ass, but I think I'm tender at heart. The other fun thing about getting a tattoo is you just kind of let go and talk and
Yeah.
get to know
There's
Jake better.
There's a lot of fun stories that get told in here.
Yeah, he heard about my nude pictures that are out on the internet.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, Rick decided that he's doing nude photos.
I'm
for
doing
his
nude
next
photos
tattoo
now
session.
for my next tattoo session. So I'm thinking of expanding, going a la carte.
I'll show off those tattoos now.
Yeah. When I go to the gym and take a shower, I'm going to have something to show here. That gives a whole new word to the term shower. I'm kidding, people. God, they're going to start talking. Rick Dancer's getting his, you know what, tattooed.
Yep.
There are people that do that, too.
Yep. I'm sorry to say, but the handling fee is really, really expensive. that's before the tattoo. So.
Yeah. Charge more for genitalia.
Yeah. Be prepared for that one.
So the first time I came in here, Josh, he owns the place, doesn't he?
Yep. One of the owners. Yeah.
One of the owners, super cool guy, but he came in and I had no idea what he was saying. He goes, so Jake popped your cherry, meaning your first time getting a tattoo. And it's really true, man. Then you just get, it's just because you realize your body's such a great canvas.
Yeah.
And I've been so excited about this. It was like just to get, especially with the city. This is real intricate, but it's going to look so. They think it's going to look bad. That's going to look so cool.
Yeah.
Because the end, you're going to see a town.
To me, this is like the coolest stuff to tattoo on people too, because it's a representation of you and your life,
Right.
Your kids, your family, you know. And
I can't wait to show my boy, because Jesse kind of knows I'm doing it, but then I want to, when it gets done, I want to show him the picture and go, look, man, there's the outdoor, you know, all the places that are in there, and it's like the town where he lives. So that's kind of a cool thing. And then I'm taking pictures every time I go someplace for Jake to show him the landmarks and stuff. I just did the Pacific City one this last time, and we've had Mount Washington. Now I got to get to North Bend, which I will be there at the end of Thanksgiving area time.
Oh yeah.
And then now I'm just gonna have to make a special trip to Livingston, Montana.
Yep.
So you guys, if you have any questions about getting a tattoo, and you know, I've had several people come on and say, Okay, I'm doing it. I went to your guy, man. I'm getting
Yeah,
your guy.
actually, yeah, I've had quite a few people come in and put deposits down and tell me that they decided to come in because we were doing the video and showing off the work and all that kind of stuff.
You know what I want I know you and I have a deal here, so I love helping you.
Right,
But
right.
all you barbers out there who are getting people coming in and asking for the Rick Dancer haircut, I want a commission. Jake said somebody he knows.
My friend cut my hair yesterday, cut mine and my son's hair actually, and she said that people bring in photos of Rick all the time and they're like, I want this haircut.
And some of them don't even know who I am. They
Yeah.
just go, I want that guy's haircut like that. So I am now taking a 20% commission on all Rick Dancer haircuts. Don't tell me I'm arrogant. I read your comment online. I think that's the other thing about social media. It does maybe it's making us all more gutsy or something because, you just get so tired of the
Well, it's easy to sit on the other side of the
computer and have
screen
have a
yeah.
big muscles.
Yeah, be real tall and big and loud voice and everything. So.
The thing I think that it does, one thing I think that it does do, social media also, is it takes away your accountability and your ability to have some decorum with people. To be civil, you
Yeah.
can't sit down in front of, I may not agree with everything Governor Brown is doing, but I've met her, I know her. I would not sit down and start bitching at her and saying what a horrible person she was, because we have a relationship. So you have a relationship with people, and then once you have a relationship, then you can get into a deep discussion about the issues. But you don't just go mouthing off. And I've had so many people since that Ellen thing going, oh yeah, if I was next to Trump, I'd just start yelling at him. Well, you can't, there's a respect level that you have to give the office or the person, no matter who they are.
Why can't we just agree to disagree anymore?
Right. And
nobody can do that anymore.
No. And if you disagree with somebody, then you're a hater, or you're racist, or you're this or you're that, and you're intolerant. When actually, the person who's being intolerant of your different opinion is really the intolerant person, and we just don't see that anymore. So I love this. I'm going to be speaking at this thing in November, a kindness seminar they're doing, and a friend of mine's doing it, and he has good motives. And actually, his daughter experiences Down syndrome, and we're going to go up and talk about how we are kind to each other. But the problem I have with the whole concept is that whose definition of kindness is it? You know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to be kind, don't you have to be kind to everyone? And you don't get to pick and choose. Oh, I don't have to be kind to you because you don't believe what I believe. Then when it gets so you're a Muslim and I'm a Christian, so I don't have to be nice to you, or I study Hebrew and rabbinic studies, so I don't have to be nice to a Christian or a non-believer. That's just so stupid. So now you're just labeling people based on their religion. The very thing we're not supposed to be doing, we're doing. Drives me crazy. But that's enough about that, because I'm here to get my nice, peaceful...
So a little touch on some of our previous stories. Mrs. Price sent me a message through Messenger and told me thanks for saying all the kind things about her in her classroom. And
Seriously,
all that
she
stuff.
did?
Yep.
So Shirley was talking to you.
Yep. And she's shared some of my work and stuff like that. I know that she's kind of going through some health struggles and stuff like that right now. So it was just cool to be able to touch base with her and say hi and say thank you. And it's awesome that she's like sharing my work and all that kind of stuff. And I actually had another run-in with somebody from Mount Vernon that I went to school with. They're totally random. They started talking about you and talking about Mount Vernon, and then come to find out that I was actually really good, I was friends with her brother for a little bit in middle school and elementary school and stuff, and actually like slept at their house for his birthday party and all this different stuff. So more like weird connections to Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere I go now.
So when he went to Mount Vernon, and that's where we originally met when I was speaking there one time.
Yep.
And then Shirley Price was the person who took me there, his teacher. So was your brother murdered when you were there?
No, actually, it was a couple years after that.
But surely, obviously, Mrs. Price knew about it. Everybody in Springfield knew.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
So don't you think, you know what I bet? I'm just going to assume, because I know Shirley really well. I bet she worried about you.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had a tough life.
Right.
And you grew up kind of tough. And then you have your brother murdered. And I bet she kept watching that and thinking, oh my God, I hope, because you were a sweet kid.
Right.
But she
Hope
also
so.
saw the hard stuff that you went through, and that can ruin somebody.
Yeah.
And so how amazing for a teacher to then, 27 years later, to see that the things that she implanted in your life probably helped you get through your life.
Oh yeah.
And now you're successful, you're an artist, you're doing your thing, and that has to just, as a teacher, I would think that would just have to make you, most teachers never get to know how the impact they have on a student's life.
Right.
And so she is finding out that because of the connection we have now, she's getting blessed because she realizes that, God dang, all those days with those bratty little kids,
Right.
and it paid
Dealing
off.
with them yelling and screaming and not
Yeah.
listening.
But she sees you being a successful, artist, and
Right.
that's got to feel really good.
Oh yeah. Yep. And she's been at it for a long time too, and now her daughter does it, right?
Yeah,
her daughter's like
Her daughter, I
teacher
think a
there
teacher's
now, or-
aide, I think there
Oh, okay.
at Mount Vernon, and then Shirley's no longer teacher; she's retired. But
Jake,
nice.
Angelia asks if you have any suggestions for someone who gets dizzy or sick to their stomach at the sight of needles.
I have never seen a needle.
So to me, tattooing is actually quite a bit different. I have high blood pressure and stuff like that, so I have to go and get my blood drawn and stuff once in a while. And I hate getting stuck with a needle or getting my blood drawn or anything like that. It grosses me out and makes me nauseous. But sitting and getting a tattoo, we're not going all the way into the skin. That's what's gross to me about like getting my blood drawn and stuff, is that it's actually going in my body. And this is more or less dragging it across the surface. So I wouldn't say it's quite as painful as going and getting a shot. It's more annoying because it's gonna last longer. It's gonna keep going for a few hours. As far as advice, eat a good meal. Get a bunch of calories in you before you go in for your tattoo, and because when you're sitting there getting tattooed, your body's burning through those calories really quick. So if you eat a good healthy meal, it'll just kind of help keep your stomach at ease. And the most important thing is to really just tell yourself that it's really not going to be that bad.
You guys, I swear
it's
to
really
you,
a mental
it is.
challenge
It
more
really
than
isn't that bad at all, and I don't feel like a needle's going in my skin. I feel like he's just scraping it.
I'm constantly, when I get tattooed, I'm constantly talking to myself. Pain is weakness leaving the body, whatever you got to do. I mean, just to get yourself in that mindset that, it's something that's, it might hurt in the moment, but it's going to be rewarding when it's done. So.
Well, the other thing I was going to talk before we stop, I want you to. One thing I think people should know is taking care of a tattoo after it's done.
Yeah.
It's super important, and I think that you probably should talk a little bit about what
Absolutely. So the most important thing with getting tattooed is really trying to figure out how your body feels. So like I could tell you how to take care of your tattoo until I'm blue in the face, and you might go home and maybe none of it's going to work for you whatsoever. So there's just kind of some guidelines. I mean, really focus on keeping the tattoo clean. If you keep it clean, it might get dry and scaly and flaky and everything, but if you keep it clean, it's not gonna get infected. It's gonna heal quick because you're taking care of it. And as far as using like lotions and stuff like that, I don't really like using like a body lotion or anything. To me, using something natural like a coconut oil or something like that.
Coconut oil is great.
Yeah, I feel like it just really penetrates the like dry skin and the flakiness a lot better, and actually kind of helps lift it off the skin quicker. And the idea is to let it heal as naturally as possible. So don't pick your tattoo.
God, you can't. Warning.
Don't go swimming in saunas. And
Don't go swimming.
hot springs or whatever.
And yeah, because it soaks it in, and the swimming pool, I won't be swimming for like 2 weeks, and that's because you don't want all the debris. People pee in the pool. They say they don't, but if the person says he doesn't, he did.
Right.
And they
There's
pee in the
bacteria
pool.
in there, one way or another.
And you don't want it because it's a scar basically. That's healing.
Yeah.
And
It's very much like healing a burn, actually. And there's a lot of products that they make that are actually designed for burn victims that they use in tattooing. And I have used them before, and I think that they work great for some people, but not necessarily everybody. So
I just used coconut oil, and it was great.
Yeah, if you can just keep it clean and take care of it, I mean, that's the best thing that we can do for your tattoo.
All right. All right, you guys, we're done. We're gonna be here for the next couple of hours. You know, we will break in when Ron gets here. That'd be super fun.
Yeah.
And we'll do a little short one, and we'll put something else on Instagram as well. Tim, thank you for shooting this,
You got it.
and Jake, thanks for doing this. And yeah, we'll see about the other arm. You never know.